Welcome to the section of solid modeling. From this section onwards, we will be designing or we will be creating models which are three-dimensional in nature. So in this video, we will be discussing the most important option in three-dimensional modeling, that is extrude command. So first, let me open the part file by clicking on new. As default, part model is selected or the part type is selected, and the subtype is solid by default. So this is comfortable for me, and I want to change the dimensions which I want to work. So I am deselecting this option and I'm pressing OK. After pressing OK, I have to select the dimensions which I am working. I will be working with millimeters, so I'm selecting this option. See that you select the millimeters, Newton seconds, part and solid. Clear, because there is another option called mold component, and we have harnessing over here. So we are working on part models. So the CAD models are created using the part model. I'm pressing OK right now, and as soon as I have pressed OK, I have landed on this layout, and the introduction of this layout was already present in the previous video. Now let us try to create a three-dimensional model using the basic command called extrude. So let us see where is extrude located first. Extrude is located under this category of shapes. There are also another options called revolve, sweep, swept blend. We will be discussing these options in the future videos. And you can also see an option called a sketch. So we have already covered the two-dimensional sketching. So if we are opening this option, we will be directed to create a two-dimensional sketch on any of the planes which are mentioned on the screen. So let me just quickly repeat over here that this particular area is used for drawing or modeling a three-dimensional objects or three-dimensional models. This is the ribbon with different options available for us. We can try to use these options and we can try to create a solid model. We have the model tree on the left hand side, which indicates the steps which we are following for creating the solid model. So let us try to see what is extrude option. If we are trying to hover the cursor on the extrude option, we have a message over there. First, let us read what is mentioned. Extrude is used to create three-dimensional geometry by projecting a two-dimensional sketch or a section at a specified distance normal to the sketching plane. This means, firstly, we have to create a two-dimensional sketch. Say for example, I'm creating a circle. If I'm wanting it to extrude, the extrusion means to convert that particular circle into a three-dimensional solid model. Right? So what is happening in extrude is the two-dimensional layout is getting projected. It is getting projected perpendicular to the plane on which we have created the two-dimensional layout or the two-dimensional sketch. So this is quite confusing if you're trying to follow the definition, but if you're trying to see the way we are creating extrude, it will be a very easy thing for you. So let us try to use extrude option. For that, first please click on extrude. The moment you have clicked extrude, you will be having a dashboard over here, or you can call it as a ribbon. In this ribbon, there are certain default options which are selected by default. The first option is extrude as solid. Yes, we are working with extrude as solid. There is another option called extrude as surface. Extrude as surface we will be discussing in the future options. Extrude as surface comes under surface modeling. Right now in this section we are discussing the solid modeling. After this option we have another option called depth. Depth indicates the distance which the two-dimensional sketch is getting extruded for. I will be showing you with the example. Now that we have opened the ribbon or we have opened the dashboard of the extrude, we have to select the plane on which we want to extrude the two-dimensional sketch. Selection of the plane depends on the geometry what we are having. For example, if we have a cylinder that is standing on the floor, In order to create the same object in the Creo software, the view of the object is more important. So in order to create the same geometry, I will be choosing the plane named as top. I will be selecting a plane named as top and I will be creating a two-dimensional sketch on this particular plane, and I will be extruding it normal to the plane. So I will try to show you all these things in the coming videos, so need not worry about it. So the next thing what I have to do is I have to click on placement, because I have to define a plane on which I am going to extrude the two-dimensional sketch. I will be selecting the placement option, and then I will have to select the define option. When I am clicking the define, we get a window on the screen named as sketch, and we get a message over here, select a plane or surface to define sketch plane. So I repeat, sketch plane is the plane on which we are going to create a two-dimensional sketch. So let me just try to click on the front plane. Since this is the first time we are working with Extrude, let me work with the front plane right now. So I have selected the front plane, and the moment I have clicked on the front plane, I got a notification or a message over here that the front plane is selected. And let me press sketch right now. So clicking on sketch activates the sketching layout. So you can see, and I'm sure you are quite used to this particular options, because we have already covered these options in the two-dimensional sketching, and these are the most important for a designer to understand. So I have these options activated right now. The reason for this options getting activated is to help me to create the two-dimensional sketch on the front plane what I have selected. Clear? So right now you can see that this plane, the front plane, on the front plane I'm getting a center axis which is intersecting with another center axis. So this indicates that this particular plane is activated right now for creating a sketches on it. Now the next important step is to align the view, because we cannot create a sketch in the default view which is seen on the screen right now. So this is the default view. We have to press the normal view or the sketch view right now. The moment I click the sketch view, you can see there was a turn in the plane. So let me go back to the default view by pressing Ctrl D. This was the default view what I was having. So I should not create any sketch in this particular view because it will be very confusing. I will show you that also. So right now first thing is I have to see that I am going to the sketch view. So this will basically orient the plane normal to the screen. Clear? Now this is quite simple for us. We have already used these options. Let us try to use the circle option, and let us try to create a circle originating from the center of the coordinate system, that is X, Y and Z. You have already learned the procedure to create the circles, so I will not be repeating all these things. Let me try to keep the diameter as 200 mm. Now you can see that the sketch is created. One important thing to remember when we are creating an extrude, when we are using an extrude command, is that the sketch what you are creating should be a closed loop. So I will show you the difference between open loop and closed loop. So right now the circle is closed loop because there are no ends that are open. Let me try to create one other sketch. Say for example, I'm trying to create a rectangle, but the ends of a rectangle are not connected. Let me hide the dimensions. You can see that the ends of the rectangle are not connected. So this is not a closed loop. If the sketch is closed, we will automatically get a shading in it. This indicates that the sketch is a closed loop. So let me just delete this open loop. Now we have the sketch ready with us, and we have to simply press OK. After pressing OK, you can see this particular color what you're seeing. Now you can turn the object by using the middle click options. So as I'm progressing with the video, I will also be telling you the options or the way to use the mouse while working with the modeling part. So now I have to click on the middle click, the roller what you're having in the mouse, hold it and move the mouse. So with this technique, you can just move the object and see how is it created. And if you want to come back to the default view, you simply have to press Ctrl and D. So the extrude command has worked. It has created an extrusion. So I'll repeat again, extrusion is a process of converting a two-dimensional sketch into a three-dimensional solid model. It happens by creating a two-dimensional sketch and projecting it linearly, perpendicular to the plane. So I have created the circle in the front plane. This was the front plane if you remember. I have created the circle and right now the circle got extruded, or it has got linearly projected in the perpendicular direction, perpendicular to the plane I'm talking right now. Clear? Now what should be the depth of extrusion or the length of extrusion? You can try to change the length by clicking on this dot and moving your mouse, but this is not recommended because in the geometries when we are solving the exercises, you can see there is a value of distance which we have to follow. Clear? So we can change the value over here. For example, I want the depth to be something around 350. I simply have to type the 350 units over here and press enter. You can see that the figure the solid model got extruded further. What if I want to extrude the model on the other side of the plane? Okay, on that particular region. So in that case, I can simply type -350. You can see that the object or the model is now projecting on the other side of the plane. Let me come back to the previous plane. So this, instead of typing a negative value of depth, we can also use this option. This is also very simple. With a click it is happening. So I'm just trying to tell you different ways of projecting the geometry in different directions. Clear? So this is another simple option by changing the direction with respect to the plane. Now if I'm wanting the particular cylinder to be symmetric, I want equal amount of material on the right hand side and equal amount of material on the left hand side. So one thing to remember is, with the extrusion we are adding a material. So initially you have created a circle, you have created a two-dimensional circle. So using the extrude command, you have added material to it and you're extruding it to the required depth in any direction which is wanting. Clear? So I am adding material in this direction right now, and the depth I want it to be 400 units. Now if I am wanting the cylinder to be symmetric about the plane, I want equal amount of material on the both sides of the plane. So in that case, I need to click over here. So by default, this particular option is selected, and this particular option represents the extrusion from sketch plane by a specified depth value. So this is the general option, and in this option we just have to enter the value and we can change the direction. So that kind of depth or that amount of extrusion is happening. So if I'm wanting it to be symmetrical on both the sides, I have to use the second option. By clicking on this option, you can see that the cylinder got aligned equally on both the sides. You can just use the middle click again and you can see the direction. See, you can see that it is equally present on both the sides. So now you can either use this and see the variation for understanding purpose. The material is getting added equally and it is following the sketch what we have created. That was a circle. So this is the simplest way to create an extrude command. Let us go to the next video and see what are the different options present in Extrude. But before that, let me conclude this particular extrusion by pressing OK. So whenever I'm satisfied with the extrusion, I have to press OK and press Ctrl D to come back to the default view. So now the solid model is ready. This is a cylinder. And you can see the view. I mean, you can try to imagine that as I mentioned mentioned to you in the starting of the discussion of extrusion, that if I want to create a cylinder standing on the ground, so I have to select the top plane, right? But right now I haven't selected the top plane, I've selected the front plane. So this is something like a cylinder or a pipe which is placed on the ground. Clear? So this view is something similar to that particular thing what I'm trying to tell you. So you can just imagine how a pipe is laid on the ground. How does it look? It looks exactly in this way, right? So if we are wanting to create that particular thing, we have to follow the usage of front plane. If we are wanting it to be standing, so we have to use the top plane and we have to create the extrusion with respect to the top plane. I will be showing you in the next video.